What is biodiversity and why does it matter? Our planet is a beautiful mix of stunning plants, cute animals, spectacular birds, bizarre insects, and amazingly adapted living species of all kinds. And we are still discovering new species even now. Yet, the 2015 UN Convention on Biological Diversity estimated around 10% of species are going extinct every decade. We may even be losing species before we've even found them. But amongst all the other crises in our lives right now, is this really such a problem? Well, to answer that, let's first start with, what is biodiversity? Biodiversity is the variety of plant, animal, fungi, and microorganism species found within a specific habitat. These species and organisms work together in an intricate and interconnected web to maintain a delicate balance that provides the conditions to support life in that habitat. And each habitat is interconnected and interdependent. So life on this planet is one huge network of organisms of all types in a variety of different habitats. Remove one link in this extraordinary network, and suddenly this fine balance goes out of whack, affecting all other links in the network. Within each of these habitats or ecosystems, each organism has its own requirements to survive and its own functions to support the whole. Organisms have indeed evolved over millennia to perform these roles, often with specialized adaptations to do so. So they would not be at home or even able to survive in another ecosystem. And without these organisms, the ecosystem would not function very well, if at all, which then has a knock-on effect on all the other interconnected ecosystems. Let's take coral reefs, for example. Corals grow slowly in warm tropical waters of a certain salinity that are not too warm that they bleach and die. Coral is unable to move as they are attached to the substrate, that is, they are sessile, and they use tentacles to catch prey such as zooplankton. These coral reefs provide shelter and food for hundreds of small fish, mollusks and sponges. The small fish eat algae growing on the reef, preventing too much from growing and smothering the reef. Larger fish and octopus eat the smaller fish, as well as the sea urchins, crustaceans and sea worms. Even larger fish such as groupers and sharks eat the smaller fish. Turtles eat algae and small animals, and rest on the coral shells, excreting nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus onto the reef, which the corals use to grow. If, for example, the giant triton snail or the titan triggerfish numbers drop significantly, the crown of thorn starfish numbers then increase rapidly, and these hungry coral eaters soon destroy large sections of coral that have taken tens and hundreds of years to develop in a matter of weeks or months. This then has a knock-on effect to all the other species dependent on this coral for food and shelter. Soon many species are gone, and the reef is a shell of its former self. While coral reefs only cover 1% of the ocean area, they support a quarter of all the known marine species. There are roughly 800 species of reef-building corals around the world. Coral reefs protect human life and property from storms. Like mangroves, they dampen the wave action of storms and protect coastlines. They also provide habitat for many marine species, as well as a protected space for reproduction of these marine species. Between 2009 and 2018, the world lost about 14% of the coral on its reefs, which equates to around 11,700 square kilometers or 1.7 million football fields of coral, more than all the living coral in Australia. The world has lost 50% of its reefs in just the last 30 years. Losing populations of species is also a calamity from a genetic diversity perspective. A weaker gene pool means that a species is less adaptable to stress and so becomes more prone to population collapse under climate and habitat changes, or even extinction. This creates a domino effect, where species dependent on this one are then also affected. So, if the butterfly pollinators for a specific flower die out, not only does that plant die out too, but the birds that ate the butterfly, the insects that ate the leaves, the lizards that ate the insects, the eagles that ate the birds and the lizards, the snakes that ate the bird eggs, the soil microbes that supported the plants, these and so many others are decimated too. So far, 500,000 insect species have disappeared from our planet. Since 1970, the average population size of wildlife has decreased by 60%. We're losing forest areas at lightning speed, at a rate of 27 football fields every minute. It is tempting to say, well, that does not affect my busy life with my problems, my health issues, and my stressful jobs. Or, I'm so stressed and anxious and don't want to think about climate change, so I'll just keep my head down and try to forget. Or, I'm just fine, thanks, with my fancy car and big comfortable house, so I don't really care. But we need to realize that protecting ecosystems and biodiversity is not a choice. Without these ecosystems working properly, other ecosystems which are interrelated also start to break down. And with sufficient degeneration, our natural world and the processes that support it and that it supports start to break down too. Processes such as the water cycle, ocean currents, and climatic systems are affected, leading to all sorts of changing situations. Less rain, more floods when it does rain, drier soils, less foliage and shade, increasing temperatures, increasing ocean salinity and acidity, melting ice, rising sea levels, more ferocious winds and cyclones, changing ocean currents, longer winters, hotter summers, the list goes on. And these all affect our life support systems such as clean air, drinkable water, fish in the sea, healthy and prolific crops, livable and predictable climates, and so on. Flourishing and peaceful human societies do not exist in a world where the natural ecosystems are degraded, climate patterns are unpredictable and changing, and communities are having to rebuild at ever-decreasing intervals. It's like trying to drive a car with no wheels. While you may not think twice about the wheels on a car on a day-to-day basis, if they suddenly vanish, you will know all about it. Hence why we inspect them regularly and check their inflation pressure and tread thickness. We need to learn to consider and take care of our species and ecosystems on a regular basis too, through a myriad of ways to ensure the health of our planet and, by extension, ourselves. And yes, it's easy to say, oh well, what can I do? I'm only one person and it's such a mess already. But if we all sit back and do nothing, we definitely 100% will get nowhere. So what can we do? There are so many things actually. Firstly, the basics, such as saving water, minimizing energy use, reducing rubbish and not littering, rubbish recycling or upcycling, using far fewer plastics, planting trees to reduce heat island effects and absorb carbon dioxide, changing energy production methods, composting our green waste, reducing forest and habitat destruction, rehabilitating degraded ecosystems effectively and properly, not just as a token effort, using natural resources more sparingly and carefully, buying fewer clothes and toys, eating less red meat and palm oil-based foods, growing some of our own vegetables and herbs. Then, lobby your local, state, and national governments for change and keep them accountable. Challenge them on their conservation and biodiversity efforts and what they allow for rehabilitation of industrial sites. Support conservation efforts financially or with your time and with fundraisers. Teach your kids about nature and the environment and why it is important to look after it. Go outside and spend time walking in nature with them so that it becomes part of their lives. Grow plants together and watch the bees visit the flowers. Don't let your cat or dog roam outside unattended. Provide natural habitat in your garden for local species. Only plant plants in your garden that will not become invasive in surrounding areas. At the end of the day, we only have one planet. There is no planet B. And even should we all land up on Mars, the species on Earth are not found anywhere else, despite our best efforts to find such life elsewhere. This planet is unique and unimaginably valuable, and extinction is forever. So, let's work together to do whatever we can, ourselves, with our families, and at work, to conserve as much as humanly possible. After all, your life and future happiness depends on it. Well, that's it for this week. Let me know in the comments one thing that you'll be doing today to save our biodiversity. And if you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe. See you next time. Enjoy.